There is a moment every wrestling fan knows it where the music hits, and time stops. Where something you never saw coming lands right in the center of your chest and takes the breath clean out of you. Tonight, we're talking about one of those moments. One that didn't just shake the SmackDown women's division, it detonated it. Tonight, we are breaking down the moment Lash Legend turned her back on Nia Jax, her partner, her ally, the woman who handed her the biggest night of her career, and why nothing in the women's tag team division will ever be the same again. But to truly understand the magnitude of what went down, you have to go back. You have to feel the full weight of everything that was built, because the betrayal only cuts as deep as the bond that was broken first. When Lash Legend first arrived on SmackDown back in November of 2025, the wrestling world sat up and paid attention. A former college basketball standout with a wingspan built for headlocks and a personality that could fill an arena on its own, Legend came crashing onto the main roster like a hurricane, and from the jump, she planted her flag right next to Nia Jax. Together, they called themselves the Irresistible Force, a name that felt less like a brand and more like a warning label. Two 6-foot powerhouses with matching bad attitudes and an absolute allergy to losing. From day one, they weren't just a tag team. They were a statement. They bulldozed their way through the division. They crashed the party at War Games. They sat ringside with champagne flutes when they should have been in the back. They cut promos that made the whole locker room uncomfortable. And week after week, they made it crystal clear this wasn't a temporary alliance. This was the new order of SmackDown. Then came February 27, 2026. The night before Elimination Chamber, inside the KFC Center in Louisville, Kentucky. The WWE Women's Tag Team Championships were on the line, and standing across from them, Rhea Ripley and Io Sky Ryo, two of the most decorated women's wrestlers in this era. Two former world champions who together had become something greater than either could be alone. The crowd in Louisville was electric. Fans had seen this match on the horizon for weeks. The go-home SmackDown before one of WWE's biggest premium live events, and somehow this was the main story people couldn't stop talking about. Not the chamber match. Not the championship picture. This. And the match? It delivered everything. Ryo came out firing stereo dropkicks, crisp tag work, momentum swings that had the arena rising out of their seats on every near fall. Ripley hit the riptide on Nia Jax at one point and the place erupted. Io Sky moonsault across the ring like gravity was just a suggestion she chose not to follow. But every time it looked like Ryo had the match won, Lash Legend and Nia Jax found another gear. Early in the match, Nia Jax landed a Samoan drop on Rhea Ripley, not in the ring, but on the announce desk. The thud echoed through the arena and you could see the immediate damage register on Ripley's face. Her back, already a question mark heading into the night, was now a full-blown liability. Io Sky fought like a warrior to hold things together, diving off the top rope and putting her body on the line every single time. But Nia hit the Annihilator on Io Sky and that took the highflyer out of the equation. With Ripley's back giving out and Sky crumpled near the corner, the Irresistible Forces made their move. Rhea managed to pull herself up and land one final riptide on Jax. Pure grit, pure desperation, but Lash Legend was the legal competitor. And Lash hit the Lash extension on an exhausted, broken down Rhea Ripley. 1, 2, 3, pyro exploded. New champions. The WWE Universe lost its collective mind. Nia Jax, third-time women's tag team champion. Lash Legend, first-time champion in WWE. The celebration was real. It was loud. It was beautiful. Honestly, even if they are the biggest heels on Friday Night SmackDown. Backstage, Kathy Kelly caught up with the new champions. Nia was glowing. She gloated about making history, about controlling the division, about how no team on that roster could touch them. Legend stood tall, belt on her shoulder, and the look on her face said everything. This was the moment she had been building towards since the day she debuted. The following week on March 6, SmackDown rolled into Portland, Oregon's Moda Center, and the Irresistible Forces held their championship celebration. Championship celebrations in WWE are always dangerous ground. Their flashpoints, powder kegs dressed up in streamers and confetti. Mark Nash introduced the new champions and the duo came out draped in gold, carrying the women's tag team titles like trophies they had been owed for years. Nia Jax grabbed the mic and told the Portland crowd to soak it in. Two 6-foot powerhouses. The tag division? Under their control. She called them generous champions, adding that they would welcome any challenger brave enough to step up. Lash Legend followed that up by essentially daring the entire locker room to come find them. They proposed a toast to themselves. Champagne flowed. Pyros went off. It was the peak. The summit. The moment where everything felt permanent and untouchable. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss showed up to crash the party, pointing out that the Irresistible Forces only got their title opportunity because of earlier interference, and that they had unfinished business. Then Julia and Kiana James came out, staking their own WrestleMania claim. The division was alive, boiling over, everyone wanting a piece of the new champions. And through all of it, Nia and Lash stood shoulder to shoulder. An immovable wall. Unbothered. Or so we thought. Because here is where the story takes a turn that even the most cynical wrestling mind couldn't have predicted. Not with this team, not this soon, not after everything they had been through together to get those championships. The signs, in hindsight, were always there. Subtle. Easy to miss unless you were paying close attention. During the March 6th celebration, something flickered across Lash Legend's face when the crowd began chanting. Not the chorus of boos they expected from the heel champions, no, something more complicated than that. Sections of the Portland crowd were chanting for Lash. Not mockingly, not sarcastically, genuinely. Because here is the thing about Lash Legend that no amount of heel booking could suppress. Her star power is undeniable. She is magnetic in a way that transcends alignment. The crowd didn't see a villain when they looked at her. They saw someone on the rise. And Nia Jax, who has been around long enough to know exactly what that means, saw it too. The tension between them had been building like pressure behind a sealed door. Who was the face of this team? Who was the leader? Who would get the individual spotlight when WrestleMania season came calling? Nia Jax had been here before. 3 tag title reigns. Years of main roster experience. She carried Legend up the mountain, and now Legend was standing at the top and people were reacting to her in ways that had nothing to do with Nia. Then came this past Friday night on SmackDown and the door blew off the hinges. It started innocuously enough. The Irresistible Forces were out for what was supposed to be a routine tag team confrontation as the WrestleMania 42 card began to crystallize. The division was sorting itself out, contenders were emerging, matches were being made, and all roads seemed to lead to Las Vegas for Nia and Lash. They were the champions. They were the story. And they walked out together the same way they always had. Side by side. Belts up. But somewhere in that ring, during what should have been a unified front moment, the seam split wide open. Nia Jax grabbed the microphone. She spoke at length. She talked about herself, her legacy, her history, her 3 title reigns, her place in the conversation as one of SmackDown's most dominant forces. She talked about what she had built. And every time she said you could almost watch Lash Legend's jaw tighten. The arena sensed it before it happened. Crowds always do. There's a physics to a betrayal in wrestling. The air pressure changes in the building right before the moment of impact, like the seconds before a lightning strike when the hair on your arm stands up and you realize something is about to happen that you cannot take back. The SmackDown crowd felt it. The commentary team felt it. And Nia Jax, who had spent so many months trusting the woman standing next to her, apparently did not. When Nia turned to put a hand on Lash's shoulder, a reflexive gesture, the kind of casual partner contact that had become routine for them, Lash stepped back. Just one step. A single, deliberate step away from the woman who had been her shield, her partner, her equalizer from the very beginning. Nia froze. The crowd held its breath. And then Lash Legend hit her with the lash extension. Silence. Then the kind of roar that shakes a building from the floor up. Nia Jax went down hard, and the look on her face as she hit the canvas was not anger, not at first. It was something far more brutal than anger. It was disbelief. The pure, unprocessed shock of someone who trusted something completely and watched it dissolve in real time. Nia had been through betrayals in this business before. She knew what they looked like from the outside. But this one landed differently because she genuinely, completely did not see it coming. And neither did we. Lash stood over her fallen partner, former partner, and she did not scream. She did not celebrate wildly. She just looked down at Nia Jax with a cold, unsettling calm, picked up both women's tag team championship belts from the mat, placed them on her shoulders, and let the camera find her face. She looked free. In the aftermath, WWE cameras caught up with Lash Legend backstage. She did not apologize. She did not explain herself with tears or justifications. Instead, she looked directly into the camera and said what every single person in that arena had already processed: I didn't need her to get here. I just needed her to open the door. That line. 8 words. It encapsulates everything about who Lash Legend has announced herself to be in this moment. Not a sidekick who graduated, not a protege who overcame, but a calculated force who used a partnership as scaffolding and kicked it away when the building was complete. And Nia Jax? When cameras found her later, she was backstage, sitting in the trainer's room with the kind of silence that speaks volumes. Someone who has been loud and brash and unapologetic her entire career suddenly quiet. Not defeated. Not broken. Just recalibrating, processing, and somewhere behind those eyes, something new was being born. Something that has a very specific name in professional wrestling. Rage with a target. Think about what this means for WrestleMania 42 in Las Vegas. The women's tag team titles are now in a state of chaos. Lash Legend holds both belts and has effectively declared herself a one-woman institution. Does she look for a new partner? Does she defend solo? Does Nick Aldis strip her of the titles entirely? And on the other side of the equation, Nia Jax, humiliated on national television by the person she trusted most, is now one of the most dangerous free agents on the entire SmackDown roster. Because Nia Jax angry and with something to prove is an entirely different level of threat than Nia Jax comfortable in content. The women's division on SmackDown is already stacked with championship possibilities heading into WrestleMania season. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss want those titles back. Julia and Kiana James have made their intentions loud and clear. But now you have to factor in Nia Jax, operating alone, motivated by a betrayal that is completely personal, and Lash Legend, standing at the top of the mountain, looking down at all of them like she has already mapped out the next 3 moves. This is the best kind of WWE storytelling, not the kind that arrives with a press release. The kind that feels earned, that has roots going all the way back to a debut last November, that builds through championship celebrations and subtle power struggles and microphone moments until the pressure becomes unbearable and everything breaks at once. The Irresistible Forces were one of the most compelling acts on SmackDown, and their dissolution might be even more compelling than their partnership ever was. Because the best tag team breakups in wrestling history don't end a story, they start 2 of them. The road to WrestleMania 42 just opened up in multiple directions at once, and every single one of them runs straight through Lash Legend. That is the thing about legends, isn't it? Most of them are built on the foundation of someone else's faith. And the truly cold-blooded ones never acknowledge the debt. If this video fired you up the same way this story fired up the SmackDown arena, drop a comment down below. Tell us what you think Lash Legend's next move is. Does she find a new partner? Does she go solo? And what happens when Nia Jax finally gets her hands on the woman she made a champion? The comments section is yours. Go off. If you're new to Wrestling Impact, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button, because this WrestleMania season is going to be historic, and we are going to break every single moment of it down together. And if you want more content just like this, SmackDown breakdowns, Raw recaps, WrestleMania predictions, check out our latest videos. We are just getting started. And so, it seems, is Lash Legend.